Today we're talking about cameras. My chosen brand for shooting pretty much everything is Canon. I know a lot of Sony fanboys, Fuji fanboys, Leica people. Whatever you shoot with is totally fine. Canon just gets the job done for me. I have 5 Canon cameras at the moment. I have owned 7 at some point in my lifetime. I'll talk about those maybe a little bit later. But I'm just going to start from kind of the high end, most recent, to the oldest style of camera over here. Starting off is my Canon R5C. The Canon R5C shoots 8K raw video internally. It shoots 4K 60, 4K 120. Anything that you need video-wise, you can get done with this. The fan on the back is fantastic. It's not very loud. Honestly, the louder thing is when I turn on, if I have a monitor attached to a rig, I will rig this out fairly often. The fans on that are typically louder than the fans on here. I'll use this as a hybrid camera all the time. I love the 45 megapixel stills, headshots, portraits, weddings, landscapes, anything that you shoot, you can shoot with this and it's gonna look absolutely gorgeous. But on the video side, because I am more of a cinematographer, at times I will completely rig this camera out. I'll run it on a gimbal, do all of the things, have an XLR top handle where you can plug into it and get that crispy audio from a nicer mic than maybe the one I'm wearing right now. This is a great camera. It takes CF Express B type cards and SD cards. You're gonna have to use that CF Express B if you're gonna shoot the 8K or a higher 4K bit rate there. But this is a fantastic workhorse of a camera that I use for pretty much all of my jobs. It's hard sometimes to bring any of these out just because of the way that Canon cameras are built. They're a little bit heftier, they're a little more rugged. Sometimes they're hard to bring out if you're just going to do some street photos or something like that. But I do really love the quality of these. They're very durable. They just work for me, and they hold up to anything I put them through. Next up, I have the Canon R6 mirrorless. I can match this up pretty well as a B camera to the R5C, video-wise, photo-wise. If I'm doing a wedding, I have 2 cameras. It'll be the R5C and the R6 on a hold-fast strap. One with a tighter lens, one with a wider lens, and just fire away from the hips. This is a great camera. Also shoots 4K, 20 megapixel stills, but I think the quality of the files you get out of this, they're not massive, they're easy to work with, and they're really, really easy to make look absolutely gorgeous. So the R6 was my first Canon mirrorless camera. I have adapters on both of these for all of my former EF glass, or if I want to use EF glass with a different camera or something like that. The adapters are great. They're not terribly expensive for just the normal one, and I really enjoy moving glass around between the bodies and things like that, just to make sure. And again, 2 SD slots in this, 4K, and it looks great no matter what I'm doing with it. And again, great B cam to the R5C. The next one I have up is something that a lot of people on YouTube might recognize. It is the 1DX Mark II, and people look at me and say, "Why did you buy a 1DX Mark II in 2023?" Let me tell you, it was $1,000 on eBay, that's why. It had a little crack in the back, in this back bottom LCD that nobody actually uses ever. I've never known anyone to actually use it or even half the time know what it's for. But you walk into a job with something like this, big, huge, hefty, double grip, things like that. People look at it and go, "Wow, that's a big professional camera." Yes, but it's the backup to my backup. I love this thing. Again, shoots 4K. It's very, very helpful to use as a motion camera. If I have the R5C on sticks, I'm shooting with the R6 for photos. This thing I'll use for video because the shutter on this, if I'm going to do photos in a quiet wedding ceremony or something like that, it gets a little loud. So I typically stick with the R6 for photos. I'll use this for a lot of video, and it is actually fairly easy to cut with the mirrorless cameras. You might be surprised by that, but if you shoot in log and just kind of work with it a little bit in post in DaVinci, you make it look pretty dang close, and it's really impressive. People always ask me, what is this blue tape doing outside of this lens? Well, let me tell you, I've had this Tamron lens for 7 or 8 years now. It was the first lens I actually bought, other than, the nifty 50. And I bumped it against something, and the switches between manual and autofocus came off. I lost it in a crowded auditorium, so I taped over it so I don't get dust in the lens. I might need to get that fixed. Next up, again, a very professional camera that was released over a decade ago, but it still works so well, and I love having it in the arsenal, especially as a backup if I have my fiance shooting as a second shooter at a wedding or something like that. I'll hand her this, and it works so well. And that is the 5D Mark III. I have a battery grip on it as well. This thing I got for about $600 or $700 on eBay. Very good condition. This takes the CF cards, so I have 4 or 5 different types of cards that I have to use. It's kind of hard to keep track sometimes, but when you get the quality that you get out of these, it's totally worth having to have 4 different types of card readers. But yeah, the 5D Mark III, again, a very professional camera. You can get a 5D Mark IV for fairly cheap now, 5D Mark II. All of those work great. The video on this, I don't quite trust. I've used it a few times. It only does 1080. It is a little crunchy, a little contrasty. It's a little difficult to mix and match it with, the higher end cameras. It's still usable. It's still absolutely usable. If this is your only camera, you can absolutely use this for photo and video, but I would recommend using it mostly for photo. It is kind of the backup in my bag. But again, if you need a full frame camera that looks really nice for not a lot of money, look into a 5D Mark III. And the last one I have is a completely video-centric camera. It can take stills. I don't know of anyone that's ever taken stills with this, but it's technically a camcorder because it's video-centric. It has the built-in 24 to 240 lens and a little tilty screen and an awesome kind of rotating handle on the side here to help you get whatever angle you want. This thing takes CFast and SD cards, and it is the Canon XC15. Very light. It also comes with a top unit for XLR inputs, so if you need a second angle to your main angle or something like that during an event, this is an awesome option. The quality is great. Sometimes I struggle kind of matching it with other things, especially in a dark auditorium with hot lights and things like that. But if you're just shooting a normal event, or if you're at a wedding or something like that, this is an awesome kind of backup option for anything that you're doing. And if you just want to shoot some short films, or if you want to do something really simple, I would definitely look into doing something like this, especially if you're very video-centric. It's an awesome camera. Again, all of these except for the 1DX take the LPE6 regular batteries, and this thing has mic jacks on it. It has the XLR attachment on top. It's in a box somewhere. I don't know where it is. Sorry. But all of these are just fantastic cameras. They're rugged, they're durable, they're fantastic to use. Great in the hands, all of them as well. Very ergonomic. If anyone has questions about Canon cameras, you can reach out in comments below. You can reach out to me online or on Instagram or wherever. But I'm actually going to do something here that I didn't know I was going to do until fairly recently. If you are interested in either the 5D Mark III as a professional photo camera or the XC15 as a professional video camera, contact me. Reach me in the comments, send me a DM, do whatever. I am willing to part with these. I will sell these cameras to you. That's kind of my quick coverage of the cameras I use. And people might, at the end here, be wondering, well, Casey, where are you filming at? That is the Fuji XS10. I bought it initially as a travel compact kind of camera for my fiance. but it kind of ended up being a street and compact camera for myself because she just didn't use it as much as I thought she would. It's a great little camera. Again, these can be a little bit bulky. They can be a little bit big, especially if you're out on the streets of New York or something like that. That's what the Fujifilm was absolutely fantastic for, was our trip to New York. I had that in the contacts kind of around my neck, and that was a very, very helpful, lightweight, easy to move, not a 1DX pointing at people's faces a camera to use. If you have any questions about that camera as well, comment below. I might do a video individually on all of these, kind of doing a quick review of how each of them look. But for now, good to see you, and hopefully I can get this YouTube journey really going here sometime in the near future.